Hi, what's up? This is RJ Sheetal. Welcome back to the last episode of Create to Collab Season 3. This time we have with us Simrun Chopra, who's going to make nutrition and lifestyle and health easy for everyone. Let's welcome her. Thank you so much for being a part of Fever 104 FM.
Thank you for having me, Sheetal.
Anytime. I want to start off by telling that you have run in your name, right? It's so significant. How did you start this journey of yours?
I think for each of us, the journey truly starts not with a transformation, but you know what? The first time that you look in the mirror and you just don't feel okay with yourself, and you just don't. You feel like, wait, what happened to me?
Right.
And I think I lived with that for really long. I struggled with gaining weight slowly. Then I had PCOS and nobody told me how to fix it. And I struggled so hard to get pregnant. I had multiple miscarriages before, which a lot of people don't realize. And then as a woman, you go through so much when that happens. And you're on your own. And then I had a very, very tough pregnancy. And post my pregnancy, I gained another 25 kilos.
Okay.
So I became larger and larger and larger. And that person in the mirror became more and sort of more alien to me, to that point where you try everything, right? Like everything you see online, every new diet, every new thing, and nothing happens. And you're still, when you look at yourself, you're just, I don't recognize this person. But for me, the turning point really was one day when my son was 3 months old. I got up, picked him up to change his diaper like any mom. But I don't know what happened. My back just gave out and there was like this shooting pain that went through me and I collapsed.
Okay.
And I just landed up. I dropped him. There was nothing I could do. Luckily, he fell on the bed. I collapsed on the floor. I couldn't get up. There was luckily somebody had come in who was cleaning the house. I started screaming. She came in. She couldn't pick me up because I was a little bit large by then. She called my husband. So I told her, just watch him. My baby, just watch him. My husband had to get home. And I think that was maybe my no, you would think, right?
Yeah.
But no, that was probably the first really bad thing that really, like, when they say that you're hitting rock bottom, and I thought I'd hit rock bottom because I was exclusively lactating mother. I couldn't take the painkillers and the muscle relaxants they wanted to give me. So instead, for the next 4 weeks, I crawled around the house. I needed people to help me go to the restroom. I could not.
Bad?
It was very bad. And then I started doing a little thing. The pain started. Took about 3 months for the pain to subside. I was like, yeah, this is fine now. And it happened again.
Oh.
Yeah. And then again, I didn't do much about it because everyone tells you, it's okay. Just had a baby now. It's okay.
Yeah.
But no, it's not okay. Because the third time it happened, it was so bad that I had to be hospitalized. I just stopped feeding my child because I was put on drips. I was put on painkiller medication, muscle relaxants. I was in hospital for 3 days. And they did the MRI and I had a degenerated disc and a bulged disc and I had cervical spondylitis. I still have them, obviously. But doctor told me, the remedy is you need to lose weight.
Right.
You need to not only do that, you need to strengthen, multiple parts. And he pointed out in my MRI and he was like, you need to do this.
Okay.
And that is when I actually started. And unfortunately, I realized that we all wait till everything gets really, really bad.
Yeah.
And then, you've dug yourself into this hole. And then you have such a difficult time trying to grapple your way out of it. It's so much simpler if I'd just done it before.
Right.
But so I don't think there was a sort of start to my journey, but I think there were multiple points and sort of nudges. And then like one real push where I was like literally pushed off that cliff.
Like you have to do it
yes,
now,
like it was fly or die sort of situation. And luckily I decided to fly.
And how has that journey been? You said that you didn't feel like looking at yourself in the mirror, right? And now you look gorgeous.
Thank you so much.
So how was that transformation? How much time did it take?
When you say that, it is so interesting because a lot of times when people tell me this and when they're on my program and you look at them or I look at them, I'm like, wait, but you're gorgeous. But sometimes the person that you see in the mirror, you may not feel it.
Right.
And that transformation is a mental transformation that takes so much time. And I realized that transformation doesn't come from changing how you look physically.
Right.
Yes. It actually I've seen it across women now. It comes from building a sense of self-confidence and self-belief, which builds self-love.
Right.
And I found that fitness is actually a brilliant way to do it, because when you go in and when you start off, you're lifting like a 2.5 kilo dumbbell. And then 6 months later, you can easily lift like a 20 kilo dumbbell off the floor. Or, you're at a airport and your husband's like, no, I'll get that suitcase. You're like, no, it's 20 kilos. That's simple. And that those are the moments that completely switch your perspective of yourself,
Right.
and you realize that it's not the weight.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will lose weight and they'll still not see that person in the mirror.
They still not feel good from
Yes.
within, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that comes from really doing things that you see that you can succeed at. And when you succeed, how you feel about yourself will change.
Right. Talk to me about your Instagram journey. So when you started your transformation, do you start posting videos immediately, or was it a recent thing?
Ooh, no. It's a trade secret. I'm
Okay.
extremely camera shy.
Okay.
Very, very, very camera
Doesn't look like.
No, very. You should try to take a photograph of me and you'll realize. But when I started, when I was working before that, my boss told me that I can't write.
Okay.
And that I write very badly.
Okay.
So when I started, if you go back to my first post, they aren't posts of me, they're posts of like random things, jeans, this, that.
Right.
And they're very small captions, like 3-4 lines. And like I was saying, not all the time does confidence come when you were like, just because you've lost
That's
weight.
true.
And then I just started realizing that when I started putting it out, and people were like, oh, that's really helpful. Tell me this, tell me that. And I just kept putting it out. And then I was like, you know what? I don't think anybody cares whether I write like, this British Queen's English, as long as it's simple and it's
People are able to understand.
and relate, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And I kept just writing and building confidence. But when it came to videos, again, because I'm camera shy,
Yeah.
if you go back to my earlier pictures, I don't look at the camera anywhere.
Okay.
I'm looking away because I'm very
conscious.
Yes, yes. And then when videos came for the first, I think 8-9 months, I wouldn't do a reel because I was just too conscious to
Right.
create a reel. And then I was like, you know what? People are always going to make fun of you. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
I think this is one thing that I don't know about men, but all women go through. Like,
Yeah.
we always tend to think about what others will think about us than what we want in life, right?
But I'm so glad you brought that up because that is something that I've been working with and I want to work with. That's my like 2023 bucket list to change the way sort of women see themselves and the way that we are sort of I don't know, we're trying to lift this mountain of other people's opinions and expectations.
Yeah, external validation.
Yes, and I've been working, and we do it on our program. We work so hard to just change this, and I have so many analogies for this now.
Okay.
But I mean, if you see now, the moment you keep posting, it doesn't matter how good you look, how good your editing is, how bad it is. There will be people giving you all sorts of comments all
Good,
the
bad,
time.
worse sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talking about the comments that you just mentioned, right? Have you ever got any hate comment?
Yeah, I mean, we get lots.
And what's your reaction to them?
So this is why I tell everyone else also that when someone tells you something, it's their opinion.
Right.
It's a bit like biryani. If 3 of us went out or all of us went out to eat biryani, right? I might find it too bland. You might find it too spicy. Someone will be like, oh, my mother makes it better. Someone will be like, oh, it's too oily. But the biryani hasn't changed. It's the same biryani.
Yeah.
So it's based on their opinion, right? And has nothing to do with the biryani or with me. So my reaction, I tell everyone is just say, you know what? Thank you for your opinion.
Yeah.
But in your head, you can continue the sentence and say, thank you for your opinion, but that doesn't matter to me.
Matter to me, yeah.
Yeah. And when you don't remember and you forget, think of the biryani. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. In fact, I feel that from years together, women are under this pressure to be a certain way, right? Not just look a certain way, that's also a part of it, but be a certain way because you're expected to be the best mother, a very good daughter, a very good wife, then a daughter-in-law, and then there's just so much pressure on you. Now that we see women are doing both housework and as well as office work, right? So they're trying to do a good balance. But don't you feel that there's just so much societal pressure on us, and then it's not just you or me, but I see so many women taking it up too seriously. They never say no to things. They're always like, yes, let's do this. Yes, let's do this. And then somehow their mental health is getting affected, right?
You burn out because there's only so much you can do. And there's only so much realistically any human on the planet can do. And like you're saying, these expectations have grown. You only mentioned some now, but now you're also expected, not one, but multiple children, expected to be a great cook. You're supposed to be extremely good at your career. You're supposed to be getting a promotion, but somehow manage to come home and cook for 15 people and make extremely round rotis that fluff up every time. I mean, the thing is with expectations is it never ends.
It's endless.
It's a bit like you can make something really nicely and then, it could be better. You could do better. Oh, you only got this much raise. You could have got more. Where do they end?
Right.
And if we base our success on other people's expectations, we are not going to get anywhere, are we now? Really, like I'm very, very vocal about this, so I don't
No,
so
no,
I
you
get
should be.
carried
That's
away.
the entire campaign all about. You should be vocal.
So I have this thing that I say a lot is that, especially for mothers, right? We've been taught in Indian society that women should put themselves last. Yeah,
Always, yeah.
your house comes first,
Your
husband comes
family,
first,
yeah.
family comes first, child
Children,
comes first,
yeah.
and it shows in everyday culture where you serve the best things or the best, let's say,
Yes,
pieces to your child or to your spouse,
I've seen my
husband,
mom
in-laws.
doing it.
Yes, and they'll also do things like, no, no, there's less, you eat it,
You eat it, yeah.
and she will
Yeah,
sacrifice
and
it,
we
right?
never, when we sit on a dining table, she's never sitting with us. She's always serving.
Yeah.
And when there are guests around, she's just running around. But the men of the family are just like chilling and all
Yeah.
of that, right?
Yeah. So there are two things there. One is, if you are not happy, it's a bit like on an airplane. You are told, put on your mask first before helping
Right,
someone else.
yeah.
Even with your child, you will put on your mask first before you help your child, because the survival rate of the child will drop if you're not around.
Right.
And we forget this in everyday life, and it might be different. If you get sick, then what?
Yeah.
Right? And so the fruit can fall. The fruit can only be as healthy as the tree. So if you are really looking at the health of your family and your children, you have to look to yourself first. The second aspect of that is, if you have children, what exactly are we modeling to them?
Yeah.
And especially if you have a girl child, are you telling her in sublingual terms that it's okay to put yourself last? You don't matter.
Yeah.
These people matter, even though you should put in the hard work and you just serve them. I mean, there's nothing wrong in serving people. Don't get me wrong.
As you're happy doing it.
That's also fine. But I think it should be both ways. What's wrong with everyone sharing that responsibility, right? Or saying, come, let's do this together. Like, I think that is what makes a difference. At least to me.
Unsaid expectation. Like, nobody is told that you have to do it, but you just do it because it's like everybody expects you to do
I think it's also because from my mom's generation, I see that they feel that need. That's their way of showing love. Right? Like, I'm doing for you, which is okay. But that doesn't mean I want you to put yourself last, because I see it with older women when they struggle, like their knee is paining, their back is paining, they're tired, but like, no, I have to do this. My son wants this. And I'm like, but wait, you have to, you will take some time for yourself. And I have this lady, and how much I told her, like, her hands would hurt all the time after, cooking the whole day. And I kept telling her, and she couldn't sleep at night. And I kept telling her, but you have to put yourself first. Like, no, I have to do this. And I get it comes from love, but at what cost? I mean, we'll be fine if you do a little bit less. Like, wouldn't it be nice if you just spend time together?
Right.
It doesn't have to be in one way only.
Yeah. Just sit with them and just talk to them. I think that also definitely
quality time.
Yeah. We are in 2023, and I feel that there are so many campaigns and marketing campaigns that are coming out which talks about, gender equality, and like, if women is expected to cook and take care of the house, then men can also do it. And then TV campaigns, radio campaigns, and all of that, right? But this is accessible only to the people in urban area, right? And somehow, because of the education and the surroundings that we are in, we understand this, and we're trying to work on this, at least the younger generation right now, like you and me, right? But what about the ladies in rural areas?
But if you think about it, all the help that you have at home, they're all women.
Yeah.
People in the low income brackets, most of those women work, right? And most of them, whether they are coming into our homes to clean, whether they are coming into our homes to do other thing, and in villages they're probably doing a lot of other stuff. It probably comes down to how much money do we need to run this family, and then picking what is right. So I have seen multiple women who work because their husbands can't. Because they have some issue, he's in hospital, I need to earn. So they are doing it. I don't think at that level, I think equality plays a more cultural and social aspect than a financial aspect, because it's a life that's very different. We can't expect it's very easy for us to sit here and not live that life. Like I keep saying, when you give advice, right? Like, it's bolne mein tax nahi lagta hai. You can give as much advice, doesn't mean it'll fit into their real life. And understanding that, I don't think, as much I want to help in my own way that I try, I don't think I'm in a place to pass judgment to tell them that you should live your life like this, because I don't live their life. Right? It's easy for me to stay and walk off. They have to live that life. And I think most of them already work much harder than many of the women that we know. Right? They're working 3 homes, 3 jobs, and they just care about survival.
Right.
So I think that is slightly different from the way we see it.
Right.
And I don't know if we can truly ever understand it.
Understand their situation, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the only point that I wanted to mention is that the only thing I hope they understand is that education should be given to both girl and boy, right? Because it's a personal example that I have seen where they're like, no, we'll educate only the boys in our family and we don't want to educate the girls.
So from what I've seen, and I've seen this a lot, it again comes down to available finances.
Right.
They are hedging. It's like hedging a bet. Okay, I'll put it into the boy. He'll earn more. He will then take care of me. If I put it into the girl, she will probably not go on. Then she'll get married. I won't get. They're basically hedging bets in that aspect. I think where we can really play a role is if even in any small way, like, it's like that jellyfish story. Even if you help one, it's more than nothing. And if you have, and I do this with people who work with me, if you have help at home and if there's a girl child and she's not educated, then say, hey, I'll pay the fees.
Yeah,
and the fees aren't even comparable to what we pay for our children. So it's not like it's schools, it's not like it's going to be a huge dent in the pocket or anything. And offer to pay for it, because that's all. Because if that is only the amount of money they have, it doesn't matter how much you tell them or try to educate them. They're like, she doesn't understand. What will she know? They just talk. That's what they say, right? But then if you really want to take action, then you have to be willing to take action. It's very easy to give all this advice and tell people, are you willing? Can you put your money where your mouth is? Absolutely. It's as simple as that. Yeah. If you believe it, do it. Right? And it's not going to be that hard. And I think this whole, the charade of putting it out there, and I'm putting on, like, I donate to a lot of places, but I don't believe in, like, you don't have to put it out there. You can just help people. It doesn't have to be some big organization. You can help, like, the guy down the road. You can help anybody.
Help anybody.
Because, and I've tried it a lot, and in a lot of these cases, and not only in this, in multiple other situations, you can keep telling them, and it doesn't work. So I'd rather just pay the fees into that school and say, now just you have no choice. Help them a
little bit, as much as we can, right?
Yeah. And if you can't do it on your own and you're financially crunched, get 5 friends together and say, hey, come on, all of us put in a little bit money and we'll make a difference to this one child's life.
Absolutely true,
right? That's all that's needed. So it's not like you're on your own.
A small step can make so much of a difference, right? And that's one step is what we have to take.
Exactly.
That's about it, right? Talk to me about your opinion about feminism.
This is such a
debatable topic.
I've never sort of been the kind that says, oh, women's rights, because individually on my own, I've been brought up to think. So my parents, when they were asked, I'm an only child, and when my parents have been asked, oh, how come you didn't want a boy? And my mother would turn around and say, for what? How will that help me? Right? And I was brought up neutral in that sense.
Right.
I was brought up with the thing. So I was told very clearly, you have to study, get a job, and be financially independent before you think of even getting married. For my parents, it was never about get married. Right. It was, we want to make sure that you will be okay if we are not around. Yes. Right? I come from we had very meager means when we were growing up, and there was no like inheritance or like nobody's going to leave me with a sack of gold and all. So they were like, we want to make sure if we are not around, you can manage this. Right. And I was brought up with that. So for me, I don't know whether it's about feminism or not, but as an individual, we need to make sure that we have that self-belief and strength that we can do whatever we want to on our own.
Absolutely.
Right? Because then if you set, to me, if I say, oh, because if I'm a woman, I can't do this, I'm automatically setting a limit on myself.
Right.
I've never had that. Whether it comes to lifting a weight in the gym, whether it comes to doing something someone else does. Instead, for me, if someone tells me, hey, you can't do that, I get very agitated. And I was like, you know what? Now I'm going to do it. And I'm going to show it to you.
Same thing. Especially codes that they say that, okay, only men can do this. Like changing bulbs and all. I'm like, why?
Oh my God, I'm the only one in my house who does that.
Exactly. We can also do it.
So I don't think these expectations are sort of, again, social. They're sort of taught to us when we are smaller, how to sit, how to stand, how to speak, how to eat. But then you don't need to adhere to that. So one of the things that I think I learned on my MBA, which they taught us this one thing, which obviously was for data, but it said that you must criticize everything.
Right.
You must be critical of every single thing that is ever told to you. So basically, you take nothing at face value. And I think everyone in our class and people I know from alumni, we do it with everything.
Okay.
You know, so if someone tells you, oh no, this can't be done, why not?
Why not?
I know, but this is how we traditionally do it. But why?
Yeah.
You know, so if you are willing to challenge the status quo and say there
Yes.
is no limit,
Yeah.
right? And let me see how high I can rise.
That's absolutely.
Then
Yeah.
you're your only limit,
Yeah.
because right now it comes back to all this thing like social, like you said, social pressure, peer
Yeah.
pressure,
Yeah.
and that's what makes us believe that there needs to be feminism. We need to be more, but you can just be you and be
Just
the best you.
yourself. The best version of yourself.
Yeah,
right?
and take away this whole aspect of men can, women can't, women can, men can't. No, we can all do all of it when we are set to do it, right?
Right.
I think we limit ourselves in a lot of ways.
We limit ourselves. I completely agree with that, And it's not even about people telling us, but girls or women on our own, we decide that, oh, we can't do this.
But it's
Sometimes it happens.
conditioning.
Conditioning, yeah. Like you've seen the surroundings, you've been born and brought up like that. So you just are in that zone and you're like, can I really do this? And we are also afraid to step out of the comfort zone, right? Sometimes. When it gets really tough.
No,
you're like,
everybody is.
Yeah, everybody, right? So comfort is what we look for. I want to ask you about this, the lifestyle that we have in 2023, right? Everyone's working, there's such high level of stress around, and you're always looking at the screens and little less of activity also, right? Not like when you were a child, you were running around and climbing trees and all of that, but it's not the same now. And that's why, do you feel that there's a rise in all of these health conditions like PCOS, PCOD? It's thyroid.
So actually,
it's always been there, but has it been like
it's probably going to escalate further because there's been a huge shift in the way people see fitness now.
Right.
Post the pandemic. So pre-pandemic still it was, some people would do it, cared about health.
Right.
I think we went through such a stressful phase in the pandemic, which was health, right? It's all health based, that now people don't care.
Right.
We've reached a point where people are actually caring less and less about their health, because right now it is all about, we've just come out of this, they're spending on food, entertainment, travel, and nothing on health. And we are seeing this across the board right now, because they're like, we've just come out of this huge thing, we survived it, let's party.
We survived a pandemic, so we can definitely survive.
Yes, but apart from the stress, there are effects of long COVID, multiple infections from COVID. There are also the impact of not caring about your health and letting these things get out of hand. Then of course comes the stress. When you add all these together, in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm expecting it to actually become much more. They've actually found that the rise of something called metabolic obesity has risen. They are expecting, I think, what is it, 35%? I can't remember the exact
thing.
Metabolic obesity is, in very simple terms, skinny fat. I was going to do a post on it.
Oh, I just saw that post today. Yes. You had put it up on your story.
Yes. Right? Yeah. So they're expecting it to rise. So basically, it is a person who looks healthy and fit, is thin, so but low muscle mass, high body fat percentage. So if your body fat percentage is higher than, let's say, 28% for a woman, or up to or 30% over, but you're still skinny, you look thin, but you're at a much higher risk of multiple things like diabetes, CVD, cardiovascular disease, etc. But because you are thin, you assume that I don't need to do anything, I can just keep eating unhealthy and I'll be fine. So they've seen it, and it's called metabolic obesity. So in medical terms, you're obese. You might look fine. Thin, yes. The other one that is really on the rise is toddler obesity, or children becoming extremely large. And they're expecting, I think, 35% of the population or more by 2035 to be obese across the world.
God. That's scary.
And they're trying to find ways to stop this from happening, because with obesity will come a number of other issues. And this is not obesity from medical, but obesity from lifestyle. Because we just give up. Right. So all these together are definitely, we are going to look at multiple changes happening to our body. And like I said, even with my back, sometimes we only wait till it gets really bad and then things get really hard. So the stress is just this one other additional layer on top, which makes things much worse. So it has effects on your hormonal imbalance. It has on absolutely everything.
Hair, I think absolutely everything, right?
Yeah.
So as a practice, what do you suggest to all our listeners, especially all the women out there? Simple things where you don't have to disrupt your work life and all of that, but small changes in lifestyle can make sure that you do not suffer from any of these things.
Ooh. it really depends where you are in that lifestyle as well. So the thing with women, which is very interesting, is that we have multiple phases in our life cycle.
Right.
So men have slightly less phases. We have more. You're talking everything from puberty to preconception to conception to pregnancy, post-pregnancy, multiple pregnancies, perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause.
Yeah,
So
oh my God.
our hormonal life defines what is happening with our health.
Right.
But the things that definitely help everyone is exercise, which nobody wants to do. So if you're a really busy person, I would say, let's say you don't even have time to, I don't know, go for a walk during the day, you're running around. I would say if you can, to set, let's say, an alarm for every hour on your phone. So we do that in the office. And maybe every time it goes off, just get up, walk around, go get a glass of water, drink the
in that
water.
surrounding
Yeah.
itself.
Go
Right.
drink that water and come back and then sit down. So what it does is, one, you get a little bit of movement. We are usually sitting in very bad posture.
Yeah.
You're looking at the screen all the time.
All
It
the
gives you that slight break,
Yeah.
right? Then because you're moving a little bit, it gets your blood flowing, everything. And it's done in very small batches. It's about 5 minutes of walking around. It could be, walking to someone's table, talking to them about
say hi
something.
and come back.
Or like you have to discuss something, put it down for there, come back, then move on, sit down. But don't sit, basically to break that up in an easy way that's possible. Of course, it's not going to cure everything. Right. The other thing that you can do if you have PCOS, one of the most helpful things for PCOS and diabetes is, after you finish eating, to wait 30 minutes and walk around for 10 minutes. So this walk doesn't have to be like one big fast walk with sneakers. No, it can be just up, and you can literally, that could be your time when you call someone on the phone and just pace.
Walk and talk.
Pace when you're doing that, that's enough. So what it does is, because these people are insulin resistant, it kind of uses up the excess blood sugar, which will really help you with your health markers. But exercise ideally would be the
think,
best.
right?
Yes.
Simran, there are so many diets that are coming up every single day, right? We have intermittent fasting, low carb, high carb, full protein, just a bunch of things, right? How much of all these actually help us?
So the question to me would be, help who? Because, so for example, let's say it's a high protein diet.
Right.
Now people are always like, and we see this a lot where trainers are giving people diets when they're not qualified to do so.
Right.
You must have high protein diet. They increase protein intake considerably without even checking basics like, what if the person's uric acid is high? What if they have high creatinine levels? Or, what if they have gout? You're just making that condition worse. What if they have kidney issues? Without checking parameters, you should not try anything new for very long. Your body will fight it. So basically we go into homeostasis as survival. The body will do whatever it can to sort of fix it, but it's going to fatigue after a while because it's fighting all the time. So I would say, before doing any of them, you're going to have to check what your parameters are. So for example, keto can cause gallbladder stones, and in women can aggravate thyroid. Now, so each one of them has a separate condition associated with them. There are do's and don'ts for each. What might be right for one might not be right for the other. The problem today is that we have so much information that it is difficult it's difficult to distinguish between fact and fiction.
Yeah, because everything is so easily available on the internet that you're like, oh, this looks like I have it. Like if you have cold, cough, whatever, you just Google the symptoms and you're like, oh my God, we have so many diseases, right? And you tend to believe internet, I don't know for what reason, right?
But it is generalized information. Right. It is not specific to an individual. You have to look at multiple things. So, for example, if I knew that, let's say, someone in your family or has, let's say, take uric acid itself, your family itself has a history of high uric acid, I'm not going to immediately put you on high protein. I'm going to be like, no, we need to check some parameters first, right, before doing this. Because sometimes when you do this on your own, and especially for long, or if you do it with someone who doesn't know what they're doing, you can cause more harm than good. Right? And some of these things are irreversible. I had one woman who wrote to me, I remember on Instagram, she kept doing this feared keto diet, and I kept telling her, don't do it. And then, she... 6 months later, she sent me a message of how half the side of her face had got paralyzed because of some neurological issue in her brain. And the doctor said, you need to stop doing this because you've not got the nutrients that you were supposed to get. Because she was, even if you want to do it with someone who knows how to do it. So for example, keto, or a dietitian for a diet. But you have to consult someone to, at least if you want to do it, at least do it right. and see whether it's right for you. But I think the problem with too much information is that it is laden with misinformation or information not relevant to you. The idea is this right for me?
For me,
There
yeah.
are a million things and there will be a million things, but is it right for me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the question, right?
Yeah.
I want to end this interview by asking you one important question that we are in 2023, right? And celebrating Women's Day. So, what do women really want when it comes to freedom? What kind of freedom do we really want from your perspective?
The truth, I mean, I have worked with thousands of women, and I realize that what women really want, and it comes down to everything that we talked about before this, is they want to be appreciated.
Yeah.
Our moms, and I see it all the time, women do in our society are doing everything. They're juggling like a million hats
Yeah.
together.
Always
And
multitasking.
they will continue and willing to do it if they just want that appreciation. And you can do it today if you're listening to this.
Yeah.
Go home, hug your mother and say, I absolutely love you for every single thing
Yeah.
you do for me, and see what happens.
Yeah. We don't do that often, actually.
We never
right?
do
We
it.
never
When
do
was
it,
the
yeah.
ask yourself, when was the last
Last
time
time.
you walked up to your mother and hugged her and said, I love you and thank you for everything you do for me. I couldn't do without you.
Yeah.
What do you think the reaction would be?
Tears, tears of joy.
Yeah, because I think that's what they want. Everybody is willing to give. We've been taught as women to give, 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 give. But sometimes when you get, and you don't have to get something big.
Yeah.
You don't need Valentine's Day and Women's
Yeah.
Day and this day and that day. I mean, I think doing something like that for your mom will go far more than
Yeah.
buying her a bouquet of flowers that I'm seeing everywhere right now on the internet. I'm sure that would mean much more.
Absolutely. That's about it. Yes, it was Creator Collab Season 3 Women's Day Special. We have Simrun Chopra. Follow her on Instagram. She's like the savior for all the women out there. She's going to help you with all your problems when it comes to lifestyle, health and nutrition. Go give her a follow. And that's it from me. Signing off, this is RJ Sheetal. I will catch you all very soon. Bye-bye.
Fever.